In this Halloween special from the LumaTouch Academy, I'll be showing you how to make any video scary with just a handful of post-production techniques guaranteed to horrify your audience. There are many factors that play into creating the perfect horror movie, from spookily good script writing to eerie visual effects. We're going to start out here by talking about colour grading, the ability to artistically adjust the mood and tone of a piece by tweaking elements like the clip's colours, white balance and brightness. The feelings they evoke on screen might be subjective, but they are used all the time in film to manipulate the audience's emotions, mostly on a subconscious level. For example, in horror movies, red, of course the colour of blood, can help producers create a feeling of fear and often violence, whereas yellow heightens tension in threatening scenarios. Green is often used to represent witchcraft or the supernatural, but can also conjure up feelings of disgust, giving you that sickening gut feeling that something is wrong. Editors wanting to make a scene seem cold often use tones of blue. By taking the warmth out of a scene, no matter how subtle, they can give the impression of being all alone and vulnerable, a perfect setting for a horror movie. To make these colour changes in LumaFusion, head to the Colour and Effects editor where you can start transforming even the most pleasant video into an eerie, spooky scene. To dive even deeper, tap the video scopes icon to see the colour data of your clips as you edit, where you'll see objective colour information for every individual frame of your video. By putting thought into your colour correction here, you can create some eerie techniques when it comes to blending multiple scenes together. Let's say you want to transition from one clip to another in a creative yet scary way. You're going to layer the second clip on top of the first on the main track and apply a blending mode to it in the frame and fit editor. These modes will compare factors like colour, brightness or opacity of your selected clip to the one underneath. Scroll through and see the difference each one makes to your videos, altering the opacity if needed. For a smooth transition, use keyframing to bring the blending mode in gradually, artistically moving your viewer's attention from one scene to the next. Now, while we're in the editors, why not play with the effects placed on your clips? The different categories up here in the Colour and Effects editor enable you to add things like light, blur and fog to your videos. For me personally, I love using the hatch mix to add texture to a clip, which gives it a bit of a gritty, old camera homemade feel, while perhaps adding a bit of gloom to slightly blur the footage and give it a dreamlike aesthetic. But this is your chance to get creative and perhaps use effects you've not played with before. Remember, you can alter the intensity of each one and rearrange them to create the look and feel you're going for, as well as add keyframes to make changes over time. The possibilities are endless here, and you're only limited by your imagination. Just remember to copy and paste any colour changes, blending modes or effects to other clips on your timeline, should you wish for your sequences to have the same properties. So now we have your video clips looking more ominous. It's time to add some music. Minor keys build atmosphere in horror films, as well as clashing notes that catch us off guard. Storyblocks has its own category of horror tunes to choose from, so filtering the selection down like this is easy, but you can also search using your own adjectives to make sure you have the music that fits the emotions you're trying to portray. The music you choose and the volume you play it at can staggeringly alter the mood and tone of your piece. Just look at these 3 examples and notice how the different clips make you feel. Aside from music, short and scary sound effects can also enhance your video by enabling you to add more to a scene than you're able to film. Let your creative mind run wild with footsteps, creaky doors, the sound of wind, or even werewolves in the distance. If you're working with stereo sound, you can even pan your audio to the left or right to make the viewing experience more immersive for your audience. Pan to the right and your viewer will hear the sound in their right headphone. Pan to the left and it will come through their left headphone. Or if you're wanting that extra creepy vibe, keyframe your audio to move from one side to the other as your audio plays out, putting your viewer right in the action. Now, while all these sound effects are fun to use, sometimes moments of silence can build the ultimate tension in a spooky scene, where producers give the audience time to guess what's coming next, building more and more suspense. Partner this with a sudden sound effect and you'll drive the narrative forward and might even make your audience jump. So this idea of following silence with a sudden noise shocks the audience and is a classic trait of the horror film. In a similar vein, producers also play with the rhythm and pace of their clips, pairing slow-paced sequences with fast action to keep audiences on their toes. Starting your shot sequence slowly can help you create a feeling of intimidating tension, which immediately turns to panic as the sequence speeds up. You can see that using all of these elements together, the pacing, colour, music, sound and visual effects can all create a hair-raising experience for your audience, even if you don't have a huge amount of material to work with. But let's face it, it wouldn't be Halloween if we couldn't have a bit of fun with some creative ghastly visuals like smoke, cobwebs, or even blood to make your edit stand out. Just use the range of keyers to adapt your content to the scene, altering the opacity, speed, and frame and fit to send shivers down the spine of your viewer. So, what are you waiting for? The creativity is in your hands. The LumaTouch team is hungry to see your edits, so send them in to us, if you dare.